Lieutenant Colonel Scott Shires to say a few words.
It's been said you're not supposed to be the first speaker after lunch. So I get to follow that. It is a privilege. It's a privilege to serve. And standing in this room, I'm sure I speak for all the veterans present. This is why we served. We're surrounded by our grandchildren in a country that's still free, where it's still possible for free speech to practice our religion in the manner that we wish to tolerate the way that other people practice theirs. That our borders are secure, and that we can conduct commerce pretty much the way that we want to, as regulated by the federal government. But we're still able to pursue happiness, to pursue liberty. It's our right to defend it. And I want to take a little bit of liberty this morning and give you a message from 3 of my classmates that are still serving. I graduated from West Point, class of '74, served 21 years, and achieved at least a respectable rank for an officer. 3 of my classmates are still serving this nation. Marty Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Dave Petraeus, currently the director of the CIA. And my actual plebe barracks roommate, Keith Alexander. So suffering through beast fall with that first company, being the scum of the earth, picked on by everybody. Keith Alexander has been the director of the NSA the last 8 years and currently serves dual-hatted as commander of Cyber Command. Those are my 3 classmates that still serve in uniform, still serve this nation daily from the perspective of defending our borders and defending our way of life. So I just take the liberty to say thank you from a group of 4 stars that still answer to the president, still answer to the Congress, still answer to civilian leadership. Again, something that very few nations on this planet can state, have done, or continue to do. That service does not end the day you take the uniform off. This is something that I've been taught from the beginning. My father was Navy, South Atlantic convoy, ended up in the Pacific, was actually in Tokyo Bay during the surrender ceremony aboard the Missouri, and watched that. I had a father-in-law that was at 2 Gemini and actually was on deck and observed both raisings of the American flag, and his ship was later hit by a kamikaze. They got everybody off, just about everybody off the ship successfully, and were able to tow that boat. So this long line of service that's extended to my son, a Marine. Couldn't convince him to go in the Army. I don't know what my problem was. I think because his mother was also an active duty captain. And I once sat in a classroom at Pendleton and told a bunch of fellow Marine privates that that's what it took to produce one good Marine was 2 Army captains. I currently have a stepson serving active duty Navy. So for some reason, and this is so typical of the Navy, they conjugate it in one place. I don't know what that is about the Navy, but they all seem to gather whenever they can. And meeting Air Force, former active duty, current active duty Air Force, a young Marine willing to make the commitment at this age that she wants to serve this nation. From Army veterans and others that I've introduced myself and met today, thank you. Understand that your service has never ended just because your uniform came off. It's our responsibility to teach the history of this nation and what the uniform stands for, what that commitment is. As an infantry officer, my motto, follow me. You lead by example. You lead from the front. And contrary to the Secretary of Defense, we don't commit forces unless we know what's going on. You charge to the sound of gunfire. It is the only way that I know how to be an infantry officer, is to head to gunfire, protect those being attacked. So as we continue to defend the concepts upon which our nation was born, in which it was born. Another fact, I was reminded this morning by someone here last year that they didn't know why Veterans Day was on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month was the armistice of World War I. It's one holiday in this country that stays on the 11th. It is not celebrated on any other day but the 11th. Christmas is about the only other holiday I can think of right now that sticks to its date. But that's the importance of what all of you who have served. And as I did last year, I want now, if you were a spouse waiting for the return of your soldier, if you were a mother, grandparent, if you were a child waiting for the return of your soldier, you served as well. You waited and stayed loyal. Please stand. All children, all parents, all spouses, please stand. Without you on the home front, we would never be able to stand watch, stand guard, man the tower, watch the radars, or march to the sound of gunfire. Thank you.